Hey friends, Ash here again, making another vid. Today I'm just gonna rant on about a few things and talk about this darkness first of all, because New York is, I don't know what's going on, but this is the sixth straight day with no sun, with this misty rain. We had a 2 day blow that just the wind's been blowing like crazy here for 2 straight days. And yeah, I haven't seen the sun in like a week. I don't know. And I started thinking about Q talking about the 10 days of darkness, and I'm thinking that we're in it right now. This is the dark, man. We're in it. And it's just some heavy energy here, uh, and heavy, dense energy in New York that I've been trying to work with and clear, but it's very difficult. And the more days without the sun is tough. So, yeah, we're dealing with all that. What else is going on? Yeah, that Biden information, it's just keep on coming. It's going to keep dripping out until the point where it becomes so devastating, and it already is. As you can see, that Biden, his son, is obviously a tortured soul. And I keep thinking about the computer. How could he leave the computer at this store, that like where they find it? But then you realize that China had a lot of dirt on him also. And whatever happened when he went over to China, he was messing around doing I don't know what. But you also notice something, that the guy that he was in business with, the rich Chinese guy, he disappeared. I don't think they're going to find him again, is my guess. And I don't know what's going to happen to his money now, but I heard that China, that could tend to happen to some certain rich folk in China. You know, when you get to be a certain size, they just might want to seize those assets. You know what I mean? Uh, And so now he's crapping in his pants, Biden, Hunter, because he's got multiple people looking at him. He's got the FBI and the SDNY looking into stuff that he's done, according to his own messages. So, and now I think the FBI just opened up a criminal investigation into money laundering against Biden, against Rosemont Seneca. And that's because the guy, Devin Archer, who's in jail, flipped on him. I mean, you could see that one coming, right? Look how many years he's got to do. And he can't do no hard time in jail. That kid, he's got all kinds of money in his account sitting waiting for him. You think he's gonna let Hunter Biden? He ain't gonna protect him no more. He took some kind of deal, and they got the goods on Hunter Biden and Joe anyway. Without him, it doesn't really matter. So that's just a given. I don't know what's gonna happen. I guess they're just gonna let the election go through, but I don't think Biden's gonna win anyway. So the question's gonna be: are they gonna try to rig it? How bad? And if it's a blowout, if Trump, if the polls, what the real polls are, to me, I mean, if you just look at the two parties and the turnout for the events, I could see Trump winning big, because look at how many people are showing up for a Trump event. They're lining up miles and miles, 10, 12 hours ahead of it. And Biden's got 12 circles with people in their cars, like 20 people honking at him. And it's just the total opposite. So I can see there's no, there's no energy behind Biden. He's a dead man walking, as far as I can see. I don't think he's going to make it. He's one of those people, you know. He doesn't have greatness written all over him, you know. He's got the pall and the stench of a cursed man, you know. And like I said, Hunter's going to drag him down. He'll be the millstone around his neck, and you know, that's what happens when you treat one of your kids like shit and you treat the other one all great, you know. So unfortunately, the one that he gave all his love to died and got sick. You know, there's another thing you start to realize with this kid, is that I mean, how do you go and become sexually involved with your dead brother's wife, and the family's okay with that? And then they came out with a public statement supporting it. I don't understand that. That's a pretty twisted family. And then apparently, what happened with, if you look at to the text that he was talking about her, she did a real number on him. She did a real mental number on him, or some woman did. And so this kid is just basically walking around. He's just like a mess, you know. And this is the guy that That's Biden's bagman. That's Joe's bagman. This messed up, twisted fool. And they got all kinds of other video on this kid. I mean, it's just everywhere. He had a Pornhub account apparently. I mean, it's a total mess. And that's why I remember seeing when he got caught with the rental car with the crack, and that was a week before the last election that came out. But that got scrubbed, the whole thing. But that was 1 week, literally, before the election that he did that. Anyway, so that's him. What else going on? Yeah, I mean, the election, right? We're only a few days away. And it looks like the lines in the city are real bad, man. Is what I'm hearing everywhere. Is the early voting is like a nightmare. And you saw De Blasio. I don't know if you saw, but De Blasio went out there and he said, "Yeah, okay, I won't cut the line. I'll be like all of you regular people. I'll wait on the line." Well, guess what? It took you 3.5 hours to vote. How are you going to do that if you're working a 9 to 5, right? You're going to miss 4 hours, 3 hours of your work if you make by the hour. You can't afford to miss that money, right? Your boss ain't going to understand. Yeah, sure, it was 3.5 hours, right? Okay. He probably figures you were doing something else, messing around, right? And it only took you an hour to vote. So we'll see what happens with that on election day. I'm assuming the lines are going to be pretty bad. Last election wasn't too bad. I only waited like maybe 15, 20 minutes online. We'll see this time. But I'm calling that Trump's going to win. Pretty sure about it. Just the feeling I get, the turnouts at his rallies, and they're saying these polls where Biden's up 15. I just don't buy it. I think they're completely off. They're lying. They're oversampling. And the question will be, of the states that allow the late ballots to come in, is it going to matter? In other words, if he blows them out so bad in the election that it's a blowout, then those states, it won't matter that they still have ballots out there because he's already blown them out by such a margin. It won't matter. So that's the only way you can defeat that. And then if that happens, it'll give Trump that mandate to go forward and then start the mass arrests, which I think will happen after that. They have to at some point in public. I mean, you can keep saying they're doing it in private and these stars are getting rounded up, but I want to see some people get rounded up, man. I want to see it. I want to see people, get duck walked with the cuffs on in front of everybody, so we know. That's the only way you can really prove that you're doing it. I mean, you could say that they're on house arrest, they got an ankle break. I don't want to hear it anymore. I want to see people get walked with cuffs on, major people. Then you'll know something's happening. Because I've had a talk. I've been fighting with people for years, and they say, "Yeah, well, how do you know it's happening?" I don't see nobody getting arrested. I'm not seeing it, and so the only way people will understand it is to see it, and that's why Trump's letting this shit all play out. That was my other part of the video is how Trump operates, right? A lot of people don't seem to understand how Trump operates, and to truly understand how Trump operates, you need to be from New York. It would help because there's a certain attitude, and Trump is older than me by a generation. So I'm 50, Trump's 77, 78. So he's my parents' generation. And if you think about the environment that Trump grew up in and operated in, it's a deadly place, right? You're dealing with people that will kill you if you get out of line. If you try to step on certain people's interest in New York real estate, you will end up dead. It's happened. And, part of the business that he was in, you had to deal with certain carting companies at one point, right? In the 70s, 80s. And if you didn't, could go badly for you. So Trump operated in this environment and he got to the top of that heap, right? As an outsider in a sense that didn't have the same family connections as some of these other people did. Like a Macklowe, right? Some of these big Tish, right? These big companies that own real estate for a long time. New York real estate is a weird place because there's only like 6 or 7 families that own the majority of the rental units in New York. Okay. So Trump's father had a lot of units in Brooklyn at one time, and he left those units to Trump, right? So he had a nice start. But my point is, he did some amazing deals. One of those was Wall Street, 40 Wall Street deal. Then he made a lot of money, and he made his bones on that. But my point is that the way Trump operates is in the old school New York way, and that is if you hit me, I hit you back twice as hard as you hit me, and if you hit me again, I hit you back again until someone's not there. That's the old New York way. That's the Chicago way. That's the old, not mobster mentality, but that was an organized crime mentality too. You were starting to make your bones as a new gang, and somebody messed up your area, or they came into your neighborhood. You had to do something. If you didn't respond or retaliate, then you were looked at as soft, and then other people would come into your territory and they would do whatever they wanted there. The original gangs in New York were created because not to be criminal, not to do criminal acts. It was to defend each other. Because let's say New York was in neighborhoods back then, right? The Irish over here, the Jews were here, the Italians were there. Well, if you were, let's say you're Irish and you got walking through the wrong neighborhood, you got caught out there by yourself, well, they were going to prey on you. Maybe you got beat up every other day trying to go to your school, right? Because these other kids had a gang and there was 7 of them and there was only 1 of you. So they took your money every other day, or they did whatever they did, right? And then so other neighborhoods said, well, we got to have our gang too, because these guys got a gang over here now, and they're starting to come over here and hurt people, man. They're hurting our people. They're coming into the stores where we go, and they're taking money out of those stores as a protection. So that's what started to happen. And then gangs started to come up, and they said, hey, well, we can make some money doing this too on the side, run a couple of scams, maybe a protection racket, right? Maybe we do a dice game. Way back in the day, gangs had child gangs that they would set up back in the 5 Points days. That was your training ground, right? So, you had a lot of kids who were orphans in the system, and they'd slip through the cracks, and so the gangs would take them in, and they'd use them as pickpockets usually at first. That was the first criminal thing you were taught, is how to be a pickpocket. Why? Because your hands are smaller, right? Back in the day on the trolleys, the rich men would ride on the trolley, and the kids are 6, 7, 8, 10 years old. They're down at the waist level that you're not noticing them so much, right? And they'd send the kids ride the trolleys. They'd pickpocket people, come back with the watches and the wallets and the money or whatever they could get. And back then men wore a pocket watch, right, on your breast, in your sort of on your chest area, stomach area, right? You'd have a pocket watch instead of a wristwatch. Some of those pocket watches were all gold. They were worth, and silver. They were worth quite a bit of money. And it was easy if you had nimble fingers, you could pick it right off someone, they never even feel it. So pickpocket it was a tough skill to teach, but they start with children because their hands are smaller, and then as you get older, you would graduate to larger crime. So what else to talk about? New York's in trouble. Cuomo is in deep shit. There is a Department of Justice investigation. They just asked for more records about the nursing home deaths. It seems like the DOJ might think that Cuomo has underreported those deaths, and I think that's true. They were saying 6,000 seniors died. They're now saying it might be more like 12,000. And if you look at the percentage rate of deaths in New York State, 40% of those deaths are from nursing homes. So if Cuomo just had done one thing and put those people on the ship and in the Javits Center Hospital, you would have 40% less deaths, probably. Our death count would be way lower. So what he did was he knowingly did that. He knew that what he was doing would cause more death. And so, we'll see how that plays out, but that seems like it was a crime to me, if he knowingly did that. And it seems like he did. And now all he does is in every press conference, he badmouths Trump. Everything was Trump's fault. Blah, blah, blah. So, and of course the press here is totally in his pocket. Nobody's asking any questions. Only certain press outlets are allowed into these press conferences. Same with de Blasio. So that bullshit's still going on. What else? What else is going down? Ascension stuff. Yeah. I mean, I can't figure out what's going to happen at this point. I know something big's happening and we're in the middle of it, but is there going to be this flash? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm just going to lay back and see how it plays out. I think we're in the middle of a longer process, though, is what my guess is. And because I could feel this start to happen in 2012. And like I said, in 2012, I was very sick. I was about to die. And I was pretty much resolved to die. And then somehow I got better. Just, I don't know how. But no doctor cured me. Um, and I realized later that the energy had changed, and I had just basically made it to that shift. So I had heard that some people had made empathic or empaths had made deals to either check out then or not check out and stay and help others to ascend. And maybe that's what I did. I don't know. I still don't know. But all I know is that somehow I didn't die, and I got better from a very bad illness, a wasting illness that uh, I've heard other empaths have had, and there's no. I went to many doctors, and no doctor ever could tell me what was wrong. So that's when I started to wake up also to the fact that we can self heal, and the best way to heal yourself is to self heal. So, and the way you can do that is there's different ways, obviously, but uh, to inner the way I inner healed was I started to see the white light. And if you ever wake up and you see white lights in your eyes, that's the adamantine white light particles. That's You can draw those particles to you with your third eye with practice. And you could try to do it in the dark at night because your eyes, when you take your vision away, right, you can work on your third eye vision if your third eye is opening. And some ways you can open your third eye, it's very difficult, unfortunately, with the system that we're living in with GMO foods, high salt foods, and things of that. You really need to get more on a raw diet of more vegetables, fruits, and stay away from things like sugar, alcohol. And if you want to decalcify your pineal gland, there's several ways you can try to go about doing that. One is stop using a fluoride toothpaste. That's number one, because fluoride will calcify your pineal gland. So if you're drinking tap water, and you live in a city or a state where they fluoridate the water, which is many of them, or many states, I would say don't drink the tap water. It's just not good unless you have a good filter. Me myself, I just buy purified water, and that's all I drink, and or distilled. But I wouldn't drink distilled all the time either because you need some of the nutrients in the water, some of the other minerals and things. So, um, you could try to find alkaline water. You can make your own alkaline water. It's a little more hard to do, but there's ways you can look up like how to make alkaline water. Because keeping your body alkaline is how you stay in perfect health, really. That's a big part of it is keeping the body in an alkaline state. And if you're not sure what alkalinity is, go look it up. Okay, keeping the body alkaline, which is ALKALINE, alkaline or alkalinity, right? In other words, cancer can't exist in an alkaline body, period. It won't be able to exist. It only can exist in when the body, dis-ease, right, is how you get sick. Dis-ease. Not one word, it's two words. When your body and your spirit mind and your whole spiritual uh, and mental physical body is out of whack, right? Through stress, through worry, through fear, through anxiety, through all these different things, we can throw our body off of track. And so the body becomes into a state of dis-ease, which is you're not in your center anymore, right? You're not operating out of your center space. And it's very difficult to be there. There's things that are happening to us that we don't realize. For example, the products in your home. They're emitting waves of energy onto you that are unhealthy for you, like for your refrigerator, for example. It's a compressor, and these things aren't healthy. These vibrations, they fuck with the actual uh, vibration of ourselves, basically. So, what's happening now, that was my last point for this video, was that I'm starting to see a lot of new tech that's about to, like, people are coming together in groups, and empaths and people who are channeling are getting massive downloads of information from, I don't know where, but not here, other dimension and dimensional entities who are communicating with people who have either gone into the upper fourth density or fifth density. And there's, if you're in the fifth density, then you can um, communicate sometimes with beings of higher dimensions and then get downloads of information that start to come out. And that's what's been happening with me. It's just I don't really know how to unpack it. And so sometimes I just like know something and I don't know how I know it. So I think it's like the light information is traveling in these light codes that are somehow being unlocked, like with either our DNA or something process that's going on within us that we're not 100% sure of. I saw one more interesting tech thing and then I'll end my video. I was watching the FESIG, which is a FESIG, is a group of people that are looking, free energy group that is just a group of scientists and people who have come together under the banner of, like, uh, inventing things, free energy and different devices, alien tech and stuff like that. And some of these people are trying to get monies together to finance. So I've been hearing about tachyon chambers that are being developed, that are healing. I'm hearing about a celestial chamber that's they're looking to develop, which is like the med bed tech, but that can age regress. I'm looking, and I've heard of Arcturus Ra. Go check out a guy named Arcturus Ra. He was on one of the FESIG, the latest FESIG meeting, and he was talking about he's already made a bed with magnets, with earth magnets, and using three different modalities. One being the magnets for grounding. He's also using like orgone and one other process, maybe tachyons. I'm not sure. It's a lot of this stuff is beyond my pay grade, obviously, but really exciting stuff is like we seem really close to. And I guess what's going to be is it going to be that they're just going to say, well, we have to build these machines first, or are you just going to grab one of these freaking machines that already exist and just do like a press conference about it and put someone through the fucking thing? I mean, that's what I'd do. If I was Trump, I would have opened up Area 51 to the news and done a major news conference and gone into everything. The rooms, I want to see the devices in there. I want stuff turned on and shown how it works on TV. Every single invention. I want to see how it works, what it's called, how long it's been there. I want to know about these bases. I want to know how fucking long have been there, how deep in the earth they go, what programs were being done in each base, how many people were murdered down in these tunnels and hurt, and how much adrenochrome was produced and sold, how much money was created. All this stuff has to come out at some point. That's going to be the major thing. There's going to have to be a major dump. I'm talking like movie length dumps of info. And it's not just going to be one movie. It's got to be multiple movies of all the stuff these people have done. And I'm not talking just about since Kennedy was killed. I'm talking about before that too. Way before. Like what the church did, what the Vatican's been doing all those for 1,000 years, what country's gold was taken, and all kinds of stuff, man. It's going to take years and years to unpack this stuff. This isn't like you just busted the Corleone crime family, or whatever, and we got to unpack what they did. We got to unpack a massive global conspiracy of aliens and human minions that have been fucking with the Earth's history for like 5,000 plus years or more, maybe a lot more. How do you unpack that? How do you unpack that and explain all this shit to people who have no idea that some of it even ever happened? And that are now going to realize that huge amounts of their history have been a lie. And it's going to take a long time, man. It's going to be a movie you've never seen before. It's going to be one of those movies that goes on for 20, 30, 40, 50 hours. It's going to have to watch it in chunks, to digest it all. It's going to take years. And people are going to be writing books about this for decades, man. Decades. That's how deep this goes. Not just in human life costs, but in money stolen, land stolen, people's, intellectual property stolen, people's lives ruined, people slandered. It's going to be freaking the most epic fucking movie you've ever seen. So, just if you're not really up on what's going on in the world, I would suggest you go read the Q board from beginning to fucking end. I told people that 2 years ago and they're laughing at me like, who's Q? They don't even know. Some conspiracy. I could tell almost within a month that was real. Because all the information that they were saying was checking out. That's good enough for me, man. If you keep telling me information that checks out again and again and again and you're proving it to me, it's good enough for me. Anyway, with that, I hope you're doing well in your ascension, staying in the center space, because it's getting harder too, right? They're making like that on purpose. We're on 7 days now, no sun here in New York. I think it's supposed to be sunny tomorrow, so let's see. We'll hope. With that, I hope you're well. Stay in your center, man. Be strong, and be like the Stoic as the chaos goes on around you. You can observe it, but you don't need to judge it. You don't need to feed into the fear, right? So with that, I wish you peace and love, and I hope all's well with you. Talk soon.